A little later on this morning. It's 11 minutes past 9 o'clock right now. Welcome back to CW Iowa Live. Lou and Jackie here, along with our good friend Brian O'Keefe from the Des Moines Fire Department. How are you, my friend?
Good morning to
Good
both
morning.
of you.
All right, so this time of year, we're just a couple of weeks away from the big guy coming down the chimney. And, of course, you have a lot of things for folks to remember because this is also probably one of the most flammable times of year, too.
Sure, yep. December through February is the peak month nationally and locally for fires. So it's a busy time of year, a lot of people having fun, but they're introducing new things into the home, whether it's the Christmas tree, adding some decorations around the house, having live vegetation, maybe cranking up the fireplace. So there's things that they need to really think about.
With it being the holidays and these chilly temperatures we're experiencing, now is not the time to be displaced from your home because a fire has happened. So let's prevent that from going on by giving you some great tips this morning.
Sure, with the Christmas tree, even from the fireside, we totally endorse having a live Christmas tree. Just make sure it's cut fresh for you. You got a nice base so it's stable, so whether it's pets or kids, it's not going to fall over, and that you commit to watering it regularly. And then, when that time comes, when the needle starts falling off, it's time to put it out to the street.
Is April too late? 'Cause that's usually when I'm starting to.
Yeah, if you're using it as a back scratch, it's time to get rid of it.
Okay, good to know.
No, when do you guys, seriously, when do you suggest, if you do have a live tree, when do you suggest start taking it out to the curb?
Well, we don't know when they're cut. You don't know how fresh they are when they start. Then you got to think about how brittle they are in the home. So it's really based off of the conditions that they're in your home. And so once those needles start dropping, that's an indication that the whole tree's dry.
And we've learned from greenhouses before, if you let it go dry, you can't revive it by soaking it again. So you have to stay on top of watering it regularly.
So it's really based off the bristles and how many are dropping on you.
So if you brush against it and then all the needles fall off the branch, it's probably time
you look like a porcupine walking around. So but it's is it exposed to the sun all day? Is there base heaters? Is there near some other heat source? Yeah, the tree's going to dry up quicker. But they're safe to use, but just be honest about the condition of it, and hopefully you get through the holidays. But it's a priority to get it out of the house once it's determined it's too dry.
Now, even though we're not using candles on Christmas trees anymore, it's even a fire hazard with the lights that we have? Yeah,
they're beautiful to have. There's ceremonially, there's religious organizations that light them on a routine basis. So as long as you're attentive, it has a solid base, you're not up against any other decorative material. By the front window, you don't have loose curtains. Again, it's always the children and the pets. We don't blame them for everything, but once you leave a room, we ask that you extinguish the candle so you don't go to sleep, you don't run an errand, and all of a sudden it's...
Now, speaking of candles, we talked earlier here today, we were hinting at something that causes fires around this time of year, and we see here that candles are the primary culprit. What, 2 of every 5?
Right, and they became popular as a aromatherapy. People liked them throughout the home, so it's not just a seasonal thing. But yeah, we really want you to don't go to sleep without them. Don't leave that room. I had a son that Grandma kept him lit, and I was like, you can't light him. He's drawn to them like a fly, and he's going to want to blow it out, play with the wax.
Play with it. And when you're a kid, it's interesting. I made the mistake as a kid, too, once,
I was an altar boy, so I had to deal with a lot of candles, and I've made some messes with them. So that's true.
There's so many safe options. Like I purchased on Black Friday some candles that are battery operated. They look so realistic these days, and you don't have to worry about that fire issue.
They flicker, and you can turn them on and off as needed. And remember, around a Christmas table or dinners or meals where a freestanding candle, whether someone reaches for something, so having that battery operated one we really would endorse that.
Okay.
All right, so what other tips do you have, and what other things should you keep in mind?
Well, if you haven't hung all your lights around the house externally, make sure that you have the proper amount of cords that are appropriate. They're for outdoor use. You're not stranding 10, 20 strands together. That you're using plastic hooks, not using nails or staples where you can compress the cord and short them out.
Yeah, some people are still doing that on wooden houses with wooden siding. They'll use a staple gun to
Hey, if Clark Griswold can do it, I should be able to, right?
Right. And then, you think about our winters, we can have some snow buildup, some ice accumulation that can stress those cords. It can fray them. You could, next time you go up there to change a bulb, you could, get electrocuted from grabbing your gutter on something that's down the way. So just manage your cords. Of course, make sure it's not some thin little licorice style. Have it some heavy-duty cords.
Explain that again. I'm glad you said that because someone asked me about these when they heard you were coming in. And they said flat cords, but you just called them licorice style? Well, that's a good term because people can relate to that.
Yeah, those real thin brown ones. Just because there's an opening, whether it's in the wall, a power strip, or an extension cord, does not mean that the next cord, if you strand them together, multiple ones together, this is heavy duty to handle a power surge condition, and it has an internal protection. But if you have those thin cords that you're sneaking under carpets, around the door, under the garage, those can fray and bend, and just the load on it or the electrical demand through it can cause it.
And I'm always amazed how much juice Christmas lights can pull, even though they've advanced and the LEDs and all that kind of stuff. When anytime I've ever decorated a vehicle for a parade, I would always burn out the battery in my car because or the fuse, because it pulled so much juice, and I had no idea.
Yeah, a lot of these light systems have internal fuses in them, but if you pop a breaker in your home, that's
Right.
a definite sign that you need to reconsider what you're doing. A lot of people have moved, they've changed appliances, so you just have to imagine how your electrical system is within the home. Because one year you might put the Christmas tree or decorations in the front room, and then you move it to another area and you think, well, it's the same stuff. But depending on the demand within the home, if you have another appliance, it can actually short something out. We had a fire last week, in a crawl space of an apartment. Well, it's hard to guess where that wiring cycled through the home. All it takes is a loose connection at a light switch, at an outlet, and it can arc and spark and literally start a fire
In a
behind the
different
wall.
portion of the house, which we learned a couple of years ago, where we had a failure in the bedroom on one side of the house, and the actual problem was on the other side of the house. You never would have made the connection. So even though
Right.
it looks okay where you might be plugging things in, another portion of the house could be at jeopardy.
Worst case scenario where you had, especially in some of these larger homes in Des Moines that have been converted to apartments, you might have 4 or 5 units.
Right.
It's shared electrical panel. This summer we had one gentleman throwing on his air conditioner unit, pop the breaker, so the guy in the other tenant space would go over, reset the breaker, turn it back on, and these two battled until they ended up having a major fire. So you have to know if it's your own home, if you're in an apartment, duplex, if you're sharing electrical demand. If you're getting flickered lights, you're blowing breakers,
Be
please
smart about
reconsider.
that.
So what will be the busiest days for the Des Moines Fire Department over the next several weeks?
Right around the holidays, it's mostly medical calls. So there's people, excessive drinking, food intake, slip falls from the roads around here, people traveling, the elderly getting up and moving that they typically might stay in. So there's some more increased demand for our medical services.
Okay, what about fire situations? The increase in fires, is it on Christmas Day or is it somewhere other than that?
Christmas Day, everyone's pretty stable, but it's really through right before Christmas through the first of the year.
Okay.
There's a lot of travel. There's a lot of people that are outside the home. They forget things, leave things on longer periods, whether it's the fireplace, lighting, electrical, and those things build up heat and can transfer that to a fire condition.
There you go.
And do you think it's smart if you're hosting this year and you have a ton of people over, in case something should happen, that they know a clear exit route out of your home, or they know what to do in case something should happen?
Yes, it's surprising that you welcome them, they come in the home, but yeah, especially if you have children in the basement, you just need to say, hey, we have some friendly neighbors. We're all gonna, if the alarms go off, just please cooperate. We're gonna go outside. It's my home. I might be the one to stay in and investigate, but my focus is to know that everyone's safe, and then I can assess what the hazard is.
That's a
in the
really
home.
good idea in case you are having a big gathering, to go to the neighbors, as you mentioned, and ask them, hey, something happens, can we run over to your place? They're not going to say no, but
Right.
it'd be nice to ask them.
I just took out my neighbor's garbage this morning. He's out on vacation, but I always say don't be the grumpy neighbor, because whether it's during a power loss, an emergency, a medical condition, if you can go over and knock on a door and they see you, they're going to maybe get up and come out to the door and check on you. But yeah, it's always nice to be
And invite them
friendly.
over to have something to eat too while you're
There
there.
you
Yeah,
go.
if you start
Good to
off with a
create those
six-pack, when you knock on the door, you're halfway there.
It's always good advice. And we know those Christmas lights this time of year are absolutely gorgeous, but if you're going to bed, if you're leaving the house, do we leave them on, or what should we do?
You need to unplug them, disconnect them. Whether there's a heat source building up, these are pretty light demand, but you don't know, especially externally, things change. Winds, weather,
Right.
it could start pulling down. It could be a shock hazard, but we don't have too many lighting fires externally. It's mostly, it'd be the fireplace would be the place I want you to focus on. Make sure
Okay.
that's out completely. The flue's closed. And don't wait till Christmas to make that the first time you want to show off your new fireplace.
Your new fireplace.
Yeah.
And that applies to anything in the home. Make sure you have working knowledge of it, so when you're distracted or you're entertaining, you don't want that to be the first time that you plug something in or light something.
And kids, don't worry. If Santa's coming to your house on Christmas Eve, he has a way of getting around the fireplace.
Oh,
So
yeah.
don't worry about that. In case you close everything up, he can open it by himself. He knows how to get in and get out and then close it back when he leaves.
Don't mind the spark
Yeah.
arrestor up on the roof. Or any of that
He's
stuff.
fine. He has it figured out. Okay.
Well, those are some incredible tips today, and we're downright proud to salute your wonderful organization. Obviously, all our wonderful firefighters that are going to be working hard through the holidays as well to make sure we're staying safe. So thank you for these great tips. If people want more details or things they should be sharing with their family, where should they go?
Well, you can go to NFPA, which is a nice site, National Fire Protection Association. You go to the United States Fire Association, or you can go to the City of Des Moines Fire Department website, and we offer some more additional information.
Okay.
Right. We're downright proud to call you a friend and downright proud to salute you this time of year. Thank you so much.
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks, man.
Great to see you.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
It is 9:22 right now, and we will be right back. You are watching CW Iowa Live in West Des Moines. A little holiday cheer when we come back.